From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is The Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, from the upcoming series Space Junk, Jon Heder and Dominic Russo. Plus, we'll do some news with Chris Loxamana and now. Like Napoleon Dynamite's Uncle Rico, a man obsessed with his former football glory. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. No choice but to get on. He mandates you get it on now. Chris Maxipat studio with me.
Howdy, Adam.
Howdy. Just got back from Stagecoach. It's Coachella with boots and a twang.
Sure.
And I would say generally nicer folk. Country folk are kind of nicer folk, I've figured out.
Yeah.
Rather than sort of selfish, blowhardy hipster folk.
It's the same venue as Coachella, right?
I don't know. I guess it is. Dawson
Yes.
says yes. Big polo grounds out there. 20 minutes past Palm Springs. So I was taking all the kids and their friends out to hang out at Stagecoach, but I was thinking, well, how am I going to do this? Because I know people, and I shouldn't be paying for a ticket, and I only want to go like one night and see maybe ZZ Top or something. So
And these passes sell out quick.
yeah, so I hit up ZZ Top, and just guys I know who know ZZ Top, and but Billy Gibbons is a car guy, kind of a friend, kind of friends of friends. People know him. He's a real sweetheart of a dude. Loves cars, likes me. I've interviewed him before, hung out a little bit, and so I hit his guys up, and his guys are like. I mean, this is all going through like a third party, but his guys are like, we can, Billy, be happy to see you and happy to have you. And once you're here, just come backstage and we'll get you in. You can watch it backstage and whatever. But I'm like, I don't have a ticket. I can't get there. Like, I kind of need a ticket. And it was kind of like, well, are we going to hassle him for tickets? Because we're kind of asking the tour manager for the pass, for the backstage pass, but what about the tickets?
Right.
So it sort of goes back and forth, and it's like I don't want to hassle him. And then the morning of Friday, before I leave, I get a text from Rob Schneider, and Rob's like, "Hey, my daughter Elle King is playing the main stage.
I know, she's so good.
On Friday, and you want to go?" And I was like, "Well, I do want to go, but I don't have tickets, but I know you could hook me up to get backstage, but the ticket is 3 days, and I'm not going 3 days, and I'm just going to buy a 3-day ticket for $500 and watch a couple acts." So anyway, so then Rob, who's great, is like, "I'm getting you hooked up. I'm giving you my guy's name, and we're getting you all set up with parking passes and everything else," and gets me completely hooked up, parking and everything. And so we go catch Elle. Elle is great. And then hustle over to the Palomino tent where ZZ Top is playing and hook up with his guy. And he gets me backstage. And ZZ Top is great. And Billy hasn't lost a beat. And also, it's like, guy's been going at it for 50 years plus. I mean, they were formed in like 1968 or something. Like, he's just out there rocking it. You forget what a really good guitar player he is.
Yeah.
And just you also forget like how many hits
They're so
they
full.
have.
They're a trio, and they sound so full because they're
right,
playing.
full. I was thinking, are they using backing tracks on this? But I don't know how, because he's playing a lot of long guitar stuff and fucking around a lot.
Yeah.
So it'd be hard to keep up with a set.
Either way, he's an incredible
backtrack.
player.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's the nicest guy in the world. He just rocks it out for an hour, and then he walks off stage and he spots me, and you kind of go, do you, say hi, but you want to go to the bus and like cool off or change or something. Oh, no, come on. He'd go hang out in his bus. He's handing me hot sauce and Everyone's got hot sauce
course,
now.
yeah.
Sammy Hot Sauce. Tell me about him and Penn Jillette on the Vomit Comet story. There's some video of that somewhere. I don't know. We can find that. Talked to him for a long time in his trailer and let him get on with his life. But couple of thoughts. So ZZ Top. So Dusty Hill, the bass player, died a couple of years ago. I think he got replaced with the longtime tech. The guy was the guitar tech or the bass tech or whatever, who's just up there seamlessly fitting right into ZZ Top.
Yeah, his name's Elwood Francis. Yeah, longtime guitar tech.
Playing all the hits, crushing it.
He's been with the band the whole time.
Got the big beard and the big hair.
He fits.
Walked right out there, played a 17-string bass guitar, which is crazy. And he looks a little crazy, and I wasn't sure what I was looking at because
too many strings.
When I walked up, he had the 17-stringer and was out there playing it, and it has a sort of, we're looking at a picture of, but this one's green, the one he was playing, and it looked weird and a little ghoulish.
It looks
something.
photoshopped. Like it looks like somebody just stretched out.
Yes,
a regular bass guitar.
Yeah, Ben, you were looking at footage of this guy playing his 17-string yellow guitar. I just walked in and I was like, what is going on with ZZ Top?
He's all hanging out on the high notes. I mean, how's he going to get to those low notes up the top?
I don't know. You know more than I do.
don't. I would not know. My hands could barely fit a regular bass.
He can't possibly put his arm. Okay, he has to play it over the top.
It looks like a gimmick. It has to be.
It is a gimmick.
Yeah, he just played one song, I think, with it, but it was pretty. It was pretty funny.
Piece of wood.
Billy rocked it. I mean, they sounded great, and I mean, Dusty Hill was in the band for 50 years too. I mean, it's crazy that his only job from Billy Gibbons' only job from age 19 and a half has been ZZ Top.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So. That was fun. A weird. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but a kind of sad situation happened with Bryan Adams, which is it's not tragic.
Okay,
it's a little sad. Which is went back. The kids went to see Bryan Adams the following night, so went back to the Palomino. The main stage is the main stage. I don't know how many people are there, 80,000, 65,000 people there. Then there's the Palomino, which looks like more like 8,000 people or something. And then it spills out of the tent. It just keeps going back. So I walked up to see Bryan Adams, and Bryan Adams, he did the set, played the hits. I've never been a Bryan Adams song because his songs are too simple for me lyrically. Like his hooks,
they're like made for movies.
Hooks are good, but the lyrics, I'm big into lyrics, and his stuff's just sort of light in the lyric department.
But those melodies,
great melodies. I don't know. When Bryan Adams was big, I was listening to John Hyatt,
sure.
And I thought this guy's more interesting and it's more nuanced and self-deprecating. And I just like the lyrics. So I never got into Bryan Adams, but you must admit the man has hits and he has enjoyable songs. And he goes out there and he plays the hits and he does a great job.
And like anthems too, I bet everybody was.
Yeah, everyone's into it. And then he played he was supposed to do like an hour set, and maybe about 45 or 50 minutes in, he does like Summer 69 or something. And then he's going to do 3 more songs, and people start leaving. And
they heard the hit?
I was trying to figure it out with my kids. I was like, I don't know, whoever was taking the main stage or something. And I think people hop from stage to stage. And by the way, you go, how's the sound work stage to stage? The way the sound works is you walk 3 miles to get to the Palomino. That's how it works. You just fucking walk, man.
Right. So there's no crossover due to distance.
It is, they are not in the same county, but he starts playing, he's going to do his last 8 to 10 minutes. And this packed shed, the Palomino is like packed, and then people spilling out packed. Everyone just starts trickling out. And he makes a comment like, who's hitting the main stage or something? Because people were like, we're going to watch Bryan Adams, but only for 45 minutes, not for 60 minutes, because then so-and-so, and I don't even remember the name of Custer's Last Stand.
Old Dominion.
Old Dominion. And I'm sure they're popular because they're on the main stage on primetime. And everyone just starts filing out.
Yeah, Bryan Adams' set was supposed to end at 8:45, and Old Dominion goes on at 8:30.
Okay. You got to put that shit in your rider, because it'd be like me doing an hour stand-up set, but 45 minutes in, Dave Chappelle is walking out on stage across the club, and the idea of everyone just get up and leave.
That'll affect the performance.
Well, by the way, it's the last 10 minutes of my set.
These are the hits. This is the gold.
This is the gold. This is the introduce the band. This is the long drawn out bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
And you're looking at everyone's back, physically just leave.
This is the payoff.
Now, I don't know who Old Dominion is. That's a trucking company to me. Or they make a fortified beer. Maybe they make either malt liquor or a trucking company to me. So I don't care who Old Dominion is. So all I'm doing is walking up to the front of the stage.
Yeah, might as well.
But this place, to say, first off, it was packed at the beginning of the set. The whole place is packed. And then it spills out another 80 feet beyond the tent in each direction, width and depth. So, like, when ZZ Top was playing, the tent was packed, and then there was a lot of people outside of the tent. But when Bryan Adams was playing at the beginning, the tent was packed, and there was even more people outside. So that fucking place was packed. And as a performer, I always kind of look at it as an aging performer who's lost his fastball. I identify, I think, because you say to Bryan Adams, you're going to be playing, the festival, but you're not playing the main stage. You're playing the Palomino. And then he's got to be like, who's on the main stage? And then Old Dominion is. And he's like, Old Dominion was in their dad's pouch when I was crushing the billboards in the 80s, and stuff. But there's a little humbling and a little, okay, this is where we're at now, and this is what the kids want to hear, and all that kind of stuff. But then and I felt this way with ZZ Top, because they didn't play the main stage. Now look, the Palomino stage is nothing to hang your head about. It's 10,000 people. But it's not the main stage, and Bryan Adams and ZZ Top in 1991 would have been on the main stage, right? With a bunch of other bands who wouldn't be on the main stage now, but that's the cycle of life. But you as a performer, you want to be on the main stage in perpetuity.
What I always think of is like, if you pull up like the Coachella poster, the Stagecoach poster, I always thought they were like eye charts for hipsters. The smaller the name is, the more hipster cred or indie cred you get, if you know what that band or what that act is. But now as I look at these posters, like especially Coachella, I don't know any of these acts, except for the biggest name on the headliners, basically.
Right.
And then, but Stagecoach actually looks like a pretty good lineup. I was pretty impressed. Compared to Coachella, I would much rather have been at Stagecoach.
So then I show up and I kind of root for the artist. I'm like, all right, Bryan Adams is playing the Shed. He's not playing the Prairie, but this place is packed and it's rocking and people are into it, and good for him, because I know the feeling of like being on stage and seeing some patches where people aren't sitting, or seeing somebody leave or something. Like, you see it all from the stage. And I'm like, good for Bryan Adams, but with about 10 minutes left, the entire place just got up and left. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, that's just got to be weirdly devastating.
Yeah,
and
he's basically like hold music for Old Dominion at that point.
He's just getting, and also, I don't know how you stagger it. I don't know how you do it, but you don't want Old Dominion coming up 15 minutes before you're done with your set, because 15 minutes before he's done with the set, people start filing out, and by the end of the set, it was 1/5 what it was at the beginning of the set.
Why do they have to overlap? Why can't he just end it there? End at 8:30 and then let everybody walk off. Do your last hit at 8:30 and then be done. Why do you have to?
I completely agree.
That's insane. Old Dominion, by the way, formed in 2007, so they're a lot newer than Bryan Adams.
Yeah, so I felt for him, but I was happy. I got to walk up on stage, up to the edge of the stage, but I did experience my own version of that last night. My own humbling experience. I took a Uber back from Meme Gods, our latest doc.
You had the world premiere.
Very well done. Very nice. I'll take no credit for it. Nate Adams did the lion's share, and Cedric the Entertainer, and many of these other guys. But very good, well put together, very entertaining documentary. Dawson was there. I think he really liked it.
For the first half of it, it was nonstop laughter because it's just meme after meme after meme. But it's really educational, too, for someone. I'm 49 years old, but late to this meme game, and I struggle to understand things sometimes. So it was really educational, and then it got into some controversy, and it had a really nice button at the end. And you're like, yep, good movie.
Yeah, it was really good. And so I was going to Uber after Meme Gods back to Malibu. So it's like a 40-minute Uber ride. And I get picked up by a nice Asian gentleman in a nice BMW. And I think the first 2 minutes of an Uber drive, maybe the first 40 seconds, you're going to establish, is this going to be a talking Uber ride or a non-talking Uber ride?
Because early, but
I will go any direction you want to go.
Oh, really?
Every time. I will be completely silent and stare at my phone or listen to something on my earbuds, or we can chat the entire ride. I can talk to you about where you hail from and how you got here and where's the family and how'd you get an Uber and how many. I'll talk your ear off.
But the ball's always in the driver's court. They have to open it up.
That's the way I play.
Okay.
So I hop in the back of the Uber, and the guy goes, he picked me up by a cool auto place or something on Beverly Hills. And he's like, hey, hanging out at the auto place? And I'm like, no, I was at the theater right next to it. And he's like, oh, hey, what are you watching? And I said, I didn't get into it like I did a doc or anything. It was just a doc, a new doc, it's about memes. And he's like, oh, that sounds cool. And I was like, okay, we're doing it. There's going to be a talking Uber ride. And then he goes, how you doing? And I go, I am doing good. I go, like your car, BMW, huh? He goes, yeah, 2 years, 2019. I go, well, you keep it real nice. He goes, thanks. I'm from East LA. And I said, I used to have a couple BMWs, had the BMW M3 and the BMW, I had a couple M3s. And he's like, oh, you E46 or the E96 or whatever. And I had the E30 and the E96. And we're having this chat. And I'm like, all right, this is definitely a talking Uber ride. And then he says to me with a certain joie de vivre, he goes, mind if we listen to a podcast? And I'm like, oh, now we got a super fan. Now we got a super fan. This guy's a super fan. I go, yeah. Well,
you're going to be hearing your voice
check out
through those
a podcast.
Speakers.
He
Sure.
goes, all right, here we go. Turns it up. Fucking puts on Bloomberg. And all it is financial news for the next 37 minutes all the way to Malibu. And he cranks it up. Like, I'm just listening to the NASDAQ and the returns and what's going on with the Nikkei average. And I'm like, what the fuck happened to our talking Uber ride? And then it's not like he put on music. He put on a Bloomberg financial report, turned it up, and that's all I listened to.
You didn't interest him enough.
I was like, I felt like a prom date where I felt like a chick where the dude doesn't try to fuck you at the end of the prom. Like I knew
that hurts.
I wanted him to try to get his hand down my panties or something. He just cranked up a financial news podcast, and that was
the Dow Jones today.
That's what happened. I was like, listen.
That's weird.
You can't start as a talking Uber. And then I started blaming myself, like not entertaining enough, like too much BMW talk. Maybe I should have told him I produced Meme Gods. Like maybe that would have got him. I didn't draw him in the first 8 minutes of our conversation.
You lost.
He turned on a financial podcast, cranked it up. That's the last we spoke.
That is the most boring podcast that you could turn the volume up to, especially a stranger in your car.
Yes. So that was, whatever happened to Bryan Adams. I felt it.
Oh yeah.
I felt the sting of that myself.
Billy Gibbons is the nicest guy.
The
nicest guy.
The nicest guy.
I saw him. I met him at SEMA a few years ago, and it was him and Guy Fieri at the booth.
Guy Fieri. I was walking up the steps to get to the backstage of ZZ Top. Looked up, saw Guy Fieri and like two dudes walking with purpose. I forgot. I was going to tell you because I know you're a huge fan. And he was like, "Why with purpose?" And I was like, "If I had shown up 12 seconds earlier, I would have just been face to face with Guy Fieri. He was literally peeling off with his crew and walking away, and I would have had to yell." Like Guy or something. He was just gone. Like I went, "Oh, hey, I thought, oh, this Guy Fieri," and he just turned, boom, done. Just missed him.
I love Guy Fieri. So when I went over there, it was the first time Guy and Billy met, and so Billy's like showing him around his car because Billy brought his car out to SEMA, and Guy would just go around. I don't know how much Guy knows about cars. I bet it's very little.
Probably nothing.
To you, yeah.
Yes.
So we just look at all the Billy would just show him the engine, and all Guy would do would just go. He'd just whistle. Oh yeah.
He just wants to know how long it'll take to get him to Flavortown.
That's right.
But then I saw them both, and I love Guy, love Billy, and I said, "Can I get a picture?" And Billy goes, "Yeah, absolutely." So Billy takes out his phone and snaps a selfie of us, and he's like, "Got it." And then he walks away, and I'm like, "How the hell am I supposed to get this picture now?" Like, what am I? So I had to track down his assistant, and you're like, "Hey, can you get into his phone and send me this?"
Wow.
But yeah, I love him.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah, and I almost ran into Guy again. So Guy must love ZZ Top. I don't know where he was going.
You guys are destined to meet.
We're destined.
It'll happen.
So that was great. It was 114 degrees in Palm Desert over there. Indio. I mean, it was hotter. I mean, you can't even imagine how people used to survive there.
How is all the people, the masses of people? Because that turns me off of going to festivals. Just seeing the sea of humanity. Find it a turnoff.
The guards were, security was real nice. People were real nice.
It was easy to get in and out.
Everyone was real nice. Yeah, really nice. People took a few pictures with a few people, cops and, stuff like that. Everyone was super friendly.
Those shows are also a lot easier to handle when you have access to backstage and other places where you can get away from the madness.
Yeah.
I don't think Adam would have nearly the same good things to say about it if he was stuck in the crowd with the mess.
And the heat, yeah.
Well, the crowd was nice, but yeah, I wouldn't want to be out in general pop for any real length of time.
You didn't stick around for Nelly, did you?
No, but we did. We do have 17 seconds of Billy and Penn Jillette and the Vomit Comet, where they train astronauts. I don't know, have no idea. I brought up, I don't know how Penn Jillette came up, but for some reason, him and Billy Gibbons were in the Vomit Comet. I can play you that. Is it parabolical flight? Oh, it's kind of...
Penn Jillette is weightless.
Kind of interesting.
Billy brought his Les Paul.
Floating around with his Les Paul, which he has on him because he didn't want to leave it in the trunk of his car at the airport, which is where it was. It was this, $500,000 guitar. He told me that they go up and they do their first arc and you don't float on the first arc. Then they go down, hard dive, turn back up again hard, and then you float on the second one, which is pretty crazy. I don't know. Do we need to train astronauts? It seems like a lot of Jet A being burnt to train an astronaut. Like, I feel like if somebody said to me, when you get into space, you are going to be floating around, I'd be like, all right, I'm prepared for this. I don't feel like I need to simulate it in the skies at the millions of dollars of taxpayer money. I'll figure it out when I'm floating. I've seen enough movies. I saw that Sandra Bullock movie.
Yeah.
I'll know what I'm doing.
I'll double check this, but I think vomiting at zero gravity has some major implications.
Yeah, well, Billy said that the plane...
It has to do with zero gravity.
...had like 5 paramedics on it. They all booted, and him and Penn didn't. And then they made fun of him. So that was that. The other thing I was thinking about was there was somebody tweeted me a graph of states that are losing population and gaining population. And my whole thing about life is it's like if you put a house up for sale and it's on the market for 4 months and you don't get a nibble, it means you have to lower the price.
Yeah.
That's all there is. You can keep arguing about why it's worth $1,100 a square foot, but there's just no demand. Then you got to fucking do something. You know what I mean? And you can talk about sanctuary states and talk about freedom and regulate. You can talk about anything you want as it pertains to a state, but there's only one graph that matters. It's how many people are coming in versus how many people are leaving. And it doesn't matter if you have a taco stand or state. That's the bottom. That's the bottom line. And then you can go, well, listen, I disagree with these people that are leaving, and I disagree. You can disagree with everything. It's just how many people are showing up versus how many people are leaving. Do we have that graphic somewhere? I think it's somewhere. It's a crazy graphic. In the red is California at the bottom. You can go back to the graph. But,
so
I mean,
we're looking at the 50 states. Yeah, California dead last by, and New York's pretty close too, but both California and New York by a mile, but California dead last. Florida, number 1.
Right, Texas, number 2. So listen, California and New York, I know you hate the hot chick who your boyfriend wants to fuck, but why don't you figure out who her stylist is and start pulling a fucking page out of her book? Because everyone wants to fuck Florida and nobody wants to fuck California or New York. So start doing something that is attractive to people instead of blaming people for leaving. But I was thinking back on my 2 favorite interviews, as you know, are Kamala Harris talking to Lester Holt about being confused about him asking about her going to the border.
Classic,
It's a classic because she's confused by the question, not because she's lying
and then
or obfuscating or not going to the border. It's her confusion. I don't know what you're asking.
Yeah.
That's the best part. And then the other, second only to her,
Bloomberg
is
finance.
Gavin Newsom. Is Gavin Newsom with Kara Swisher? Is this the one?
This is not it.
This is not it. No, this was a podcast.
You might have it, Doss. It's an audio clip.
Yeah. I don't know. But he was asked why people are leaving California.
We played it a bunch, yeah.
We played it a bunch. But this is 5 years ago or 4 years ago or whatever it is. Dawson will probably find it. But the best part about the answer about why are people leaving California is not the part where he cites a couple who's a friend of his who moved to Utah and is never coming back as an answer to the question, why are people leaving California? It's the part where he answers, where else are you going to go? And then she goes, I don't know, Texas, Florida? And he goes, yeah, Jerry Brown said that. I didn't say.
Former Governor Brown said it best, where the hell are you going to go? And, I love Texas. Don't get me wrong.
Is that the new California motto? Where the hell are you going to go?
I don't know, but he said it. But it was an interesting point because where are you going to get so many of the other things in the balance sheet?
But you are aware that I've lived there for 2 decades, essentially. And this is the first time I've had people really talking about not being there and not that they could figure it out somewhere else. I don't think that's true. I think they can figure out where they're going to go.
Yeah, and then that means, but it's not a zero-sum game.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a friend who just went to Utah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
It may be the right thing for him. They've made a ton of money.
Yep.
They have the ability to take their kids out of public school into private school.
Great. Yeah.
And they're doing that.
That's awesome.
And, I imagine they're not going to turn their back forever on California.
What?
Forever? How old are they? Yeah, they left.
They're thriving.
His example is someone who left who's thriving.
Yeah.
They'll
be back.
He's such a crazy sociopath. Now, by the way, this is 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, this is at the beginning when he was telling me about the real face of homelessness. That was 10 years ago, before homeless problem really kicked into overdrive. When they were talking about people fleeing California, this is 4 or 5 years ago, as people were starting to leave. And his answers were, where else are you going to go? I just don't know how to describe him. And the fact, here's the scary part. The fact that he is almost always described as a really skilled politician. Like, people are always like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. His policies are for shit. He's horrible. He's a sociopath. He's a great politician. That means all of you who vote for him are fucking retarded. That just means you're the dumbest people on the planet, because he doesn't bring anything other than he's a fucking flim-flam man. He's a fucking con artist who fools dumb people into voting for him. That's all that means. Because I was going, you have to give him his credit. He is a very skilled politician. That's like saying he's a great pedophile. He's one of the best. The skilled politician, that's what that is. It means he does nothing.
Right. He's an awesome grifter.
He's a fucking grifter that fools dumb people into voting for him.
Well, see, when people say politician, one that will create and go for policies, no, he's not good. But what they're thinking of, he's a great campaign guy, like artist.
Right. And you can only do that if you live in a state with enough dumb people to vote for that guy.
Yeah. Because we're fooled easily. We see the handsome guy with the pearly whites and the slick back hair. I want him.
All right. We got some news. I got some other stuff I've got to complain about as well. And we'll do that right after this. Heard of the digital dollar? It's the Fed's latest scheme to control your money and your privacy. As the real owner of your digital dollars, the Fed could control, manipulate, and steal from you. Protect your financial future and privacy with real gold and silver from my friends over at Allegiance Gold. Throughout history, there's only been one universal currency, and that is gold. Allegiance Gold can help you protect your IRA, 401k with physical gold and silver, or have it delivered securely to your door. Allegiance Gold has the industry's highest rating, 5-star with TrustLink, AAA with the Business Consumer Alliance, and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. So you can trust Allegiance Gold. Am I right, Dawson?
Get up to $5,000 in free silver on a qualifying purchase when you visit protectwithadam.com today. Or give them a call at 844-213-ADAM. Don't wait for your privacy to be taken away. Protect your future with Allegiance Gold. Visit protectwithadam.com or call 844-213-ADAM.
Simply Safe. Well, spring is here. People doing a little spring cleaning, maybe going on a spring vacation. But before you pack your bags, you got to secure your home with Simply Safe. These guys are very ergonomically well crafted. The units are very small, and they're wireless, and they have little batteries, and they last up to 10 years. No drilling, no pulling wires. Simply Safe is the only one to offer you Fast Protect technology. Allows agents to visually verify the threat is real and convey eyewitness evidence to 9/11 for fast police dispatch. So that's what you want. You want to be prioritized. It'll ship to your door. You can set up yourself in about 30 minutes or so. And with financing through a firm, you can pay over time in installments, something that fits your budget. Customize perfect system in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/Adam. Go there today. Get 20% off with interactive monitoring, and you get the free indoor security camera at simplysafe.com/Adam.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Ace Man, Patrick, from Glendale. I've been driving through left red turn arrows for years. And the other day, I got pulled over by a policeman. Pulled me over. He asked me, why did I turn left on the red arrow? I said it was clear. He took my license and registration, and he came back. And you know what he told me? He said, have a good day, sir. I drove off. This is one for us. Get it on!
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
That red turn arrow is a metaphor for everything in life. Everything in life, which is it should never have existed, in that it should never turn red. It should turn green, or it should blink yellow, or blink red.
Keep the option open.
But it should have never been solid red.
Yeah.
And you will waste half your adult life waiting at those fucking things, or you can drive through them and never be pulled over, or in this case, get pulled over, although this is still on the motorist because you got to check your rear view before you go through that.
Yes,
and
look at your surroundings.
You can get around, you can live your entire life that way.
Because there's only one place where the cop would know you ran the red, and he'd have to be right behind you, right?
Yes, you'd have to be right behind. Can we... When I get out to Malibu and Sunset gets out to PCH and there's that fucking lane to turn right. The other day I came home at like 4:30 in the afternoon. The cars on that signal backed up a mile. They went all the way up Sunset because the lead guy would not turn, and it's a super long cycling thing. But you have your own lane to zipper in. They give you 100 yards of lane if you'll turn right, but that first person will never turn right, and they won't put a fucking sign up that says do it, and the person behind them will never honk, and the cars just back all the way up Sunset, and they'll like block the next intersection. It's a total fucking clusterfuck. And what I never understand is if I was in charge of this goddamn city, I just go from intersection to intersection, and go, what is going on this intersection?
Yeah.
Well, between like 2:30 and 5 o'clock, people pile all the way up. Why is that? Well, we have a lane for them. Why don't they know? Then why aren't they turning?
They don't care that they know. There's an intersection in Long Beach, 6th and Locust, and it's on a timer, and people only use 6th Street. Nobody drives down Locust. It's a T intersection. Yet it's on a timer. So we have to wait for that little guy walking, and then the hand blinking at every red light just piles up. People have called the city and they go, "Yeah, we know. What are you gonna do?" You know about it.
First off, I honked from 11 cars back. And everyone just says, what are you doing? I'm like, start honking at this fucking idiot. Thank God there's a gas station on that corner. If I can get within striking distance, I then cut through the gas station, and I then go right and turn down PCH, and I look in my rear view as I go further and further down PCH, and I see that same guy just sitting there with a lane for him.
Yeah.
Can't we have a merge thing up there or yield or something? Like, they won't put a sign up.
Well,
the problem.
The sign can only take you so far, but also the driver. Do you look at your rear view mirror? Do you see that that gives me so much anxiety being the cause of this
wagon train of 45 cars just completely backed up because you will. And also, how long have you lived in the state? Do you know you can turn right on a red? You can merge in. You can go. It's still not his fault. It's the guys behind him who won't honk. But there's too much road rage now.
Yeah,
for
I don't
people
even
to
hear honks. I don't hear car alarms. I don't hear honks. I don't hear any of that anymore.
Yeah. All right. So here's the thing I was talking about with Dr. Drew today. Let's see. Let's see if we can narrow this down because he's on to something. I was talking to Dr. Drew, I always talk to him about the difference between men and women and how we're spilling into this chick think era and it's fucking everything up and no one wants to say anything. Being annoyed. I said, women are always annoyed. There's annoyed. And Drew goes, yeah, I know. My wife's annoyed. Everyone's annoyed. You know what I mean? Like if you come in and they're doing something, they go like, Natalia will scream at Sonny, he's so annoying. His friends are so annoying. Like we're trying to, annoying. And then Drew said to me, I've never been annoyed. And I'm like, Yeah, I've never really been annoyed. I've been bothered. I've been upset. I've been pissed off, but I've never announced that a person is annoying. And almost every woman has announced this guy's annoying or that friend's annoying or this, your kid's friends comes, he's annoying. And I'm like, yeah, I've called people douchebags and assholes and sociopaths. Like, it'd be like me calling Gavin Newsom annoying. I don't really know what it means.
Yeah,
I never called anyone annoying. I'm never annoyed. I could be bothered or put upon or pissed off or something, but I'm never annoyed. And then he said, yeah, women are always annoyed. And then I thought, yeah, what is that?
Would you say that people who are annoyed, it says more about the person that's annoyed rather than the annoying person?
Yeah, like women will do the move where they're like looking at something on the computer and then you come in and you ask them a question and they don't answer. And then you ask again and they don't answer. And then you ask a third time. They go, what? That's a person that's easily annoyed because this was easy to avoid, which is you answering the first time.
Yeah.
But then I said, well, how do you reconcile then women always being annoyed? Guys are ever annoyed. I mean, I said, Drew, I've known you for 25 years. You've never said that person's annoying. Have I ever said that person's annoying? And he said, no, never heard you say it. So how come we're never annoyed and no one is ever annoying? And then what is it genetically going on with women where they have the annoyed gene? And then how does that work with rearing kids? Because everything gets back to kids. And I thought, well, maybe the annoyed is a kind of weird reverse hypervigilance where they're constantly looking, maybe guys can tune the kid out, but women have to be tuned in to the kid in order to be annoyed. You got to tune in to be annoyed. Yeah. Like, I got a 110-pound lab named Phil. He's never annoyed, but you could jackhammer by his head while he takes a nap in the yard. He's not annoyed. He's tuned out, but you wouldn't want him looking after the kids.
So
maybe the annoyance gene is the vigilance on the kids. And then maybe that then transfers into adult males who annoy them. At least that's been the arc of my life. But have you guys ever been annoyed?
I couldn't, even if you ask me, like, I'm trying to think who is annoying to me, and I can't think of anybody.
Yes, no one is annoying to me, and I hate many people and have little regard or little respect for many, many people, but I don't call them annoying.
Yeah.
I think it's a dude thing. I mean, a chick thing, right?
It very well could be, and I like how you're kind of almost justifying it with it's like a child rearing.
Well, there's got to be some generational beneficial sort of component that's built in to qualities that we hate. Mm-hmm. Good, and good qualities and bad qualities. There's just stuff that's sort of encoded, and it can't be if every woman I know is easily annoyed and then calls people annoying all the time, and no guy I know is annoyed and or calls people annoying, then it has to do with kids somehow, and maybe that's the component that
they're just
we're
tuning
missing.
into a different frequency where they you will get annoyed.
Yes. All right. So avoid the annoyed.
Avoid the annoyed.
Avoid the annoyed. But I just thought about that. It's like, have I ever called anyone annoying? And I just don't think I have.
Well, I'm pretty stoked then because I thought you thought I was annoying. So
all right. Should we do some news?
Sure.
Yeah.
So Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
To California, bullet train gets bipartisan backing. So, bipartisan congressional group from Nevada and California asked the Biden administration last week to fast-track federal funds for a private company to build a high-speed rail.
Oh, it's
Vegas
a private company.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe
we
we'll
might
get
have a
one.
chance.
Listen to me. I kid you not. Since high school, I remember sitting in Miss Valdivia's Spanish class in like 1982, hearing about a bullet train to Vegas. This is a thing that has been discussed for 50 years.
Yeah.
Never happened.
We
Can't do
fantasized it for so long.
Right.
But
Yes.
Yeah, so and this is a proposal from Brightline, which we've seen a Brightline train in West Palm Beach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've seen them. They make them.
Somebody has to it's got to be private, and somebody's got to have some accomplishment of doing this nationally, internationally, and so on and so forth in order for this to get done. Now, the state, you could probably sail through Nevada. The Nevada, it's going to be funny. It's going to cost, when you do these things, they go, I'll just make up a number. It's $100 million a mile of track. Soon as they cross into California, it's going up to 700 million. Soon as they cross an arbitrary stripe in the desert, because there's so much fucking regulation and so much shit that we worry about in California, that the price will jump probably fivefold as soon as we leave Nevada and get to California, and
Exactly.
that's going to be the problem.
Yeah, so there's
And also, magically, because you can't, in California, you can't propose anything without some group that gets animated by it and is against it.
there's always a resistance.
If you could announce in California, I'm going to go take a solid BM, and some group would form up and it'd be a coalition to prevent me from taking a solid shit. That's all we do in California. There's like 7 nutty bitches who fucking hate everything, and we will not get a dam, we'll not get an aqueduct, we will not get a desalinization program, we will not be able to build a thing or do a thing. We won't do anything because there's 7 crazy bitches who will go, no. And the rest of us just go, is there any way we could work this? And they go, yeah, we could go to court for about 50 years. And you go, oh, shit, well, we're fucked. No one ever goes, shut up. We got to build shit at some point. But somebody will have a big problem with
Of course.
this.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've seen it too many times. So they're looking to spend a little more than $10 million to lay tracks along the I-15.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking to cut the 4-hour trip in half, carrying passengers at speeds of nearly 200 miles per hour.
Never going to happen. But okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to think about, though.
Never going to happen.
Have some drinks.
Now, people are going to be angry. There's going to be some endangered species that we don't even need because it's a kind of a frog. And we already got enough frogs.
All those desert frogs.
We got enough variety of frog, and they're going to be animated and pissed off about it, and that'll be it. It's going to be locked up in court for 100 years.
Well, we can't save any water runoff from the snow levels in the Sierras because of the endangered smelt.
Yeah, the smelt
from the Delta.
Yeah, man.
We used to eat smelt growing up. Believe me, it is poor people food.
Yeah.
So
They can die.
Yes, they can.
So also the lawmakers' letter pointed to company projections of 35,000 construction jobs, 1,000 permanent jobs.
What is so attractive about the shovel-ready job? My first job was a shovel-ready job. It sucked. They handed me a shovel.
But have you done it in the desert?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because I was in Silver Lake where it was only 93 degrees, but I wasn't out where it was 114.
Exactly.
Yeah, shovel. We got shovel-ready jobs. What year is it that we're calling it a shovel-ready job? Yeah.
Well, so they sent it to U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
He knows.
Yeah.
He knows
So
everything.
We'll see what he says. But
How long? I think he's going to have... He's labeled the roads and bridges racist. I wonder if he's going to label the tracks racist. I think that might be the next thing coming.
Oh, yeah, everything's
everything's racist.
Yeah,
to Pete
I'll
Buttigieg.
find a way.
Hey, Pete Buttigieg,
I'll get offended by him.
why don't you fucking just be a transportation secretary instead of getting Post-its that say racist on it and sticking it to bridges? He really called bridges racist.
A bridge? Bridges are what you want to build.
The bridge... He calls certain roads and bridges racist because they were too low and they wouldn't let the buses get under them to take the inner city kids to the beach. Yeah. That's what
Well,
I
those
want.
buses are the racist ones, and they're too high.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to this weekend, the White House Correspondents Dinner. Yeah, so held annually at the Washington Hilton Hotel, and this year hosted by Roy Woods Jr., comedian. He's on The Daily Show.
Yeah.
Other people in attendance: Kihei Kwan, Rosario Dawson, John Legend, Chrissy Teigen, the Vanderpump Rules girls,
They love
Julia
politics
Fox.
and comedy.
Caitlyn Jenner was there, Fran Drescher. So
Is everything just kind of a weird PR stunt now? Like,
I think so. I mean, this is a PR stunt. This is all the media, right? So
Right.
this is all the media covering the White House. So this is a PR gala. So let me run you through how the show went down. It started with a cold open welcome message video from Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, we have a little bit of it. We'll play it for you.
is Roy Woods a big enough guy to host this thing? I barely know who he is. I mean, I've heard of him for sure. I'm just saying this is like kind of a household name kind of
They kind of go household name, and then they'll jump to like a Michelle Wolf, for instance. But but Trevor Noah was last time, and Jon Stewart, Senate Kimmel. But anyway, so let's go.
Well, I mean, Jon Stewart and Kimmel, yeah. Like, okay. Well, anyway,
Arnold Schwarzenegger did a cold open for the thing, and he just welcomed everybody. Said, "Hey, the welcome. Thanks to the press for covering, and you guys are doing the Lord's work."
the press.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here. Well, here's
They're fucking great all throughout COVID, lying to everybody.
The
It's awesome.
WHCA. But here we go.
You're the ally of the people. So never ever stop shining a light on the truth and informing the public. I'm very proud of all of you.
Little cameo.
And it's not just me. It's also Lulu and Whiskey and my twin brother Danny DeVito. We're all proud
He brought
of you.
Danny DeVito from Twins.
Yeah.
I come over here, I'm going to get
They
bit
still
by
hang.
wolves. Okay, good. Very nice. Okay, that's the finger.
Yeah, that movie came
That's
me
cute.
today. Yeah, so and everyone laughed, and then he welcomed the president, Tamara Keith, to the stage. They handed out some awards, but let's get to the jokes. So we'll start with let's go with Biden. Biden had some zingers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he has access to great writers, the best in the world, really, honestly. But he couldn't. I don't know if he could deliver like Obama. Obama delivered he got the greatest, best writers, best jokes, and delivered them.
Well, I want to hear your thoughts on these jokes then.
All right.
Here we go.
You say I'm ancient. I say I'm wise. You say I'm over the hill. Don Lemon would say that's a man in his prime. I want everybody to have fun tonight, but please be safe. If you find yourself disoriented or confused, it's either you're drunk or Marjorie Taylor Greene. I love NPR.
Go there.
Oh, he went places.
But disoriented and confused, that's him.
Because they whisper into the mic like I do.
He's talking about NPR now.
But not everyone loves NPR. Elon Musk tweeted that it should be defunded. Well, the best way to make NPR go away is for Elon Musk to buy it.
Cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's just some of them.
Wants them labeled as government news, which they are. I mean,
Right.
they are
He did
fucking
label them that, and then
left-wing government fucking news. I was just listening to NPR, and they'll go like, they'll call January 6th a deadly insurrection. That's fucking left-wing, bought and paid for government bullshit right there.
A lot of NPR was there. So
Yeah,
like
they're
I said,
fucking
but
liars.
the-
Oh, I mean, I would love them if I was a Democrat because they're fucking carrying my water.
Yeah.
But they're funded news.
Yeah.
And they
definitely accepted government.
I would love to see what NPR's batting average was on all things COVID. What would their batting average be on all things COVID? And okay, let's talk about NPR's reporting on COVID, let's say. Did their reporting vary 1 fucking millimeter from all the shit that was coming out of Fauci's mouth and Michelle Walensky's mouth and the government's mouth? Did it? Did they do their own reporting on efficacy of vaccines or safety of vaccines or mask efficacy or social distancing or locking schools? Show me any fucking NPR anything that went against any official government shit. And then my answer is I don't care whose government it is. You don't want a news organization paid for by the government doing all the fucking government's bidding.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find
That's
your interview.
Pravda. Yeah, I did a fucking interview with those lying Truth is for all. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Fucking, is it McLair? What? Who did it?
I forgot his
I
name.
did an interview
Bryan
with them and they
right?
fucking deep sixed it. Brian Lair.
Bryan Lair. That's
Oh,
right.
he's such a journalist. I did an interview with him 10 years ago. They fucking flushed it down the toilet because they didn't like my answers. And they lied. He's NPR, right?
Yeah.
I drove a half across the goddamn town in rush hour in New York and went up to the 8th floor and sat down with that lying sack of disingenuous shit, Brian Lair, who's an NPR guy, and he's a reporter. And I sat down, I did an interview with him, and he tried to ambush me. But because they're dumb and lazy, they played a clip of Joe Coy. Joe Coy doing an Asian character and then claimed I did it. And then I explained to them I didn't do it, but I appreciate what you're trying to do because first off, NPR, can you do an interview with somebody who differs from your raggedy ass and not turn it into an ambush situation? How about we have a fucking conversation, Brian Lair? But he brings me in, he tries to ambush me, I call him out on it, and they never release this hour-long interview. And then when we contact them, NPR, Brian Lair, you guys are you're the truth people, right? You're the disinfectant, the sunlight people, and we're going to have a transparent, you guys are transparent, right, NPR? You're totally transparent. And it's everyone else, it's Fox. Fox is the one that's not transparent. You're totally transparent, and you fucking deep six this interview because it made you look a little bit foolish. And I probably made some good points in it. And that was enough for journalist, NPR journalist, Brian Lair. Oh, he's he's got 40 years experience as an NPR reporter and journalist. Yeah, flushes it down the toilet. Then when we ask him, where is it? He goes, we're doing a pledge drive.
I have the response.
Oh, God.
You want to hear it?
This is NPR. This is them lying. This is them lying to you, who's paid for by the government. Let's hear.
Okay,
where is it?
Okay, so this is your assistant asking about, hey, are you going to air that interview that Adam did in New York with Brian Lair? And this is their response. Quote, basically, and this is actually from the book publicist hearing from Brian Lair's team. Quote, basically, after telling me they were holding it until their pledge drive ended, they decided that they aren't going to air it. The EP knows it wasn't good radio, and the host knows it too. He was underprepared and said Adam is right that they did not do a good job.
Well, they did a good job in making themselves look like assholes. That's the job. They fucking knocked it out of the ballpark. And them, like, so this is the news organization. You do an interview with somebody. You don't like the way the interview turns out because that somebody showed up prepared, made some fucking points, and so you never air it. But you're NPR. You're all about the truth and transparency, everybody. Ugh.
Yeah, so they're not on Twitter anymore. They decided to stop using Twitter, along with like PBS and a few other.
Why are we paying for these fucking mediocre bullshit liars?
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, let's hear some more Biden jokes. Let's go for another round here.
Vaccinated the nation, transformed the economy.
Oh boy.
Earned historic legislative victories and midterm results, but the job isn't finished. I mean, it is finished for Tucker Carlson.
Dark Brandon
about it like that.
He's talking about the economy?
Yeah.
As a good thing?
Yeah, he's patting himself on the back.
Okay. You got everyone vaccinated? Yeah. And he turned the economy around. I would make the exact same argument back to him. He's on it. Now, where is he? His speech, right? And that was a couple of tough words in there, right?
Okay, it gets worse.
All right, but where is he? Is he at 3 beers? Like what would you call if we had the beer-o-meter And let's just say you had to get up and talk like at a wedding or something. And this was Uncle Steve. It's Uncle Steve. Now, they're guys who can drink, who can talk, but that ain't Uncle Steve. But is he at like 4 beers?
If this is Uncle Steve, yeah, this is 4 to 6 beers. If this is Joe Biden, he's been nursing the same beer for the last hour and a half.
Right, but Biden would be the equivalent to Uncle Steve at 4.5 beers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you close your eyes and thought it was
Right.
Uncle Steve talking,
Right.
you'd think that. But let's keep going with some of his jokes. Dark Brandon is in the house.
What are you wooing about like that? Like you think that's not reasonable? Give me a break. Just give me a break. Look, like I often say, don't compare me to the almighty, compare me to the alternative. We added 12 million jobs. That's just counting the lawyers that defended the president. At Ron DeSantis, I had a lot of Ron DeSantis jokes ready. But Mickey Mouse beat the hell out of me, got there first.
Yeah. They love it.
Now look,
Gucci.
can't be too rough on the guy. After his re-election as governor, he was asked if he had a mandate. He said, hell no, I'm straight. I'm straight.
For him?
Time to think that one through.
Yeah. So huge hit. Everybody loved it. Viewed millions of times on Twitter. But then let's hear some of Roy's jokes. Now let's go over to Roy.
All right.
To Tucker's staff, I want you to know that I know what you're feeling. I work at The Daily Show, so I too have been blindsided by the sudden departure of the host of a fake news program.
Yeah, so that was his big joke that everybody's been sharing. A lot of Tucker hitting on Tucker because huge topic, but he doesn't just do Tuckers.
The people, it's interesting to get to the essence of why people hate Tucker Carlson so much. Like, what's
I think it's cool to hate him. I think it's like hip to hate him.
But so I kind of like, women are the only sex that's annoyed. I like to drill down and kind of get at the essence of like, there are plenty of people that say plenty of shit that these people disagree with and hate. But Tucker Carlson gets to them much deeper than Ted Nugent does. I mean, you can argue, well, he's got an audience and blah, blah, blah. But there's something at some sort of cellular level that gets Tucker Carlson to bothers these people way more than anybody else. And as we know, because we know Tucker Carlson is the most delightful guy in the world. So how does that guy get these guys to react in this crazy, visceral way?
I think as humans, we need somebody to blame. Or
but
like
that doesn't explain why
sort.
Tucker Carlson gets them.
Yeah.
You oversimplified it there.
Maybe.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
All right, let's go to the next joke.
No. No. The reason, I'll tell you why. And there's more than one person that does this, but they completely rely on calling people racist or xenophobic or homophobic or whatever, and those people sort of explaining themselves, and he laughs at them. And that drives him fucking berserk. The fact that he makes fun of them and laughs at them is what puts him over the top. The other folks say their shit, they'll stand by it, or maybe they'll offer an explanation, but they do not piss them off like the people who laugh at them. And Tucker Carlson mocks them, and that drives them fucking insane because they've established some sort of, like I've always said, when I was getting into about to get into a fist fight at Dodger Stadium for Celebrity All-Star game after telling my manager, who I didn't know, to fuck off, his reaction was so insane. And then I found out later, this guy hasn't been told to fuck off in 40 years. And those people have different reactions.
Sure.
They're not used to being laughed at, and he would laugh at them, and it drove him insane.
Yeah. And that's how you live rent free in someone's head.
There you go.
All right. So there's also another joke that Roy told that got a lot of love on Twitter or hate. Here we go.
Drag queens are not at a school to groom your kids. Stop it. And even if they were, most of them kids gonna get shot at school. It ain't no problem. Don't grown pass legislation.
Oh, there it was.
Oh,
a little stumble, but yeah.
All right.
They got into some dark stuff at this dinner.
They're not at the schools to groom your kids. I have a novel idea. Whatever they're there for, how about you stay the fuck off the campus, drag queens? I was sitting around watching, like I had to spend 3 days in an Airbnb where I had no control over the TV set. So I ended up just putting on a bloopers show and just watching guys, eat shit on jet skis and stuff, you know, and I just never stopped watching it. Although I did watch Oprah and Michelle Obama talk about nothing on their Netflix show. So I have a couple of comments. But also there was, RuPaul's drag
queen race, drag race.
Drag race. Nominated for 75 Emmys.
Gets nominated every year.
Right.
Wins a lot of them.
Does this happen? Why is this a thing? Seeing dudes dress up like chicks. Like, I don't mind if a dude dresses up like a chick. How have we convinced 86% of Americans that this is something we like or want to watch or view or participate in? Why is this even a show? Like, I don't get it. Now, I like building shows and MMA shows, so I'm not the target audience. I'm just saying, listen, I got dragged to the fucking Queen Mary for Philip the Juggler's bachelor party in 1987. I spent 12 minutes inside of this place, and I just went, what are we doing here?
Are you talking about Hamburger Mary's, like that restaurant?
The Queen Mary.
Yeah.
The Queen Mary was the only drag club in all of the San Fernando Valley on Ventura Boulevard in Studio City for a million years. And I passed that place on my bike when I was 10, and I would just go, who the fuck's going in there? And at some point, when we showed up, because Philip had the world's worst best man as a novelty, I sat down and I was like, what are we doing? And I was like, this is funny. And I was like, what is entertaining?
Heard of a bachelor party doing that.
What's entertaining about this? And they're like, these are dudes. And I'm like, yeah, let's go find some pussy. What are we doing here? And I told everyone, get up. We're going to Star Garden. I know the bouncer. And we drove across town, went to North Hollywood, went to Lancashire, went to Star Garden. We sat in. We looked at chicks. Listen, again, whatever you want to do, do it. I don't know why it's a form of entertainment. That's all I'm saying. What if chicks dressing up as dudes isn't a thing, is it?
I mean, I don't see them like putting on shows or anything like that.
No, because no chick would give a fuck because they'd be insane to care. No. Women would be insane.
But you're asking who likes it, and I think the majority of people that like it, the heavy majority, are women. I don't know why. I can't explain it to you, but women enjoy that. And they love going to those drag shows. They love, like, I know countless bachelorette parties where that's like a thing. Like, they always have to go to a drag show. I'm like, that's the entertainment. All right. I mean, it's like, I don't get it for their entertainment value. But anyway. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you. I don't know what the show would actually consist of. But anyway, that was Roy Wood Jr.'s. There's also a skit that they played with the Property Brothers. I don't know if it went very well, but they would air skits as well, like kind of like the digital shorts on SNL. Yeah, they'd roll them in. So you're the Property Brothers, and here's them trying to improve the White House.
We've been doing this a long time, and we think we know how to turn the White House into the White Home, and that's by personalizing it. We've commissioned Doug Mills from the New York Times to shoot some tasteful nudes of past presidents that we can display along the walls throughout the space.
I don't think this is gonna fly.
Okay.
The Zoom
Okay.
meeting
Let's
with
move on to the next idea because
KJP.
you are going to love it. We take the entire West Wing down to the studs, get rid of all those ugly offices, and create one massive, sleek, modern room. Then we bulldoze the Rose Garden, lose the West Colonnade, and transform the Oval Office into a Dave & Buster's. How fun would that be? Fun.
Oh, interesting.
Your host has ended the
End
meeting.
of the Zoom meeting.
Nailed it.
Yeah, kind of weird, but that's like supposedly a lot of people are cringing during that one.
It's cute. Listen, let me tell you, as a guy who's written many a sketch,
Sure.
that started with, we're going to turn the White House into the White Home. And that was the genesis of that. And then they took it from there. But it didn't have enough legs. Or they weren't good enough. It wasn't written well enough to kind of work it out.
But anyway, another successful event.
Mm-hmm.
And Roy Wood Jr. was a host. All right. You want to take a break and we'll do more?
Yep, right after this. Patriot survival food. Experts say China's hoarding massive amounts of food. They'll soon have over 2/3 of the world's corn reserves and half the reserve of rice and wheat. That's right. China is going to have all that. And China is the world's #1 food importer. They rely on that to feed their people. What does this mean for us Americans? Food shortages. Stock up on a kit of the best-selling 4 Patriot survival food. Create your own stockpile of best-selling 4 Patriot survival food kits, hand-packed in the U.S., compact, stack easily, last long, taste delicious. Different delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, 5-star reviews on their website, and they rave about the flavor and the taste. So protect yourself with 4 Patriot survival food. Right, Dawson?
Right now, you can get 10% off your first purchase of 4 Patriot survival food by typing in the code ADAM at checkout. Just go to 4patriots.com and use code ADAM to get 10% off your first purchase of 4 Patriot survival food. That's 4patriots.com. Use code ADAM.
Hey, it's Adam Carolla. Is your vehicle no longer stopping like it used to? Or does it squeal, shake, or grind when you brake? Don't miss spring brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts now through April 25th. You can get 15% off when you buy a set of Brake Best Select or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors. Brake Best Select and Import Direct brake pads are engineered for all driving conditions to restore and improve braking performance. With application-specific friction formulas, noise-canceling shims, and low-dust operation. Trust Brake Best and Import Direct to deliver better braking. Don't take a chance on your next brake repair. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will help you find the brake parts and supplies you need to do the job right the first time. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit online, O'ReillyAuto.com.
And now, Alcoa presents Definitely Not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, Largo, Florida. A 51-year-old man was arrested for aggravated assault and discharging a firearm in public after he shot his gun in the air and threatened to shoot his neighbor's dog because the neighbor was cleaning his roof with a leaf blower. Definitely not a Jew.
All right, a little more news here.
All right, I want to get your thoughts on this because you are very vocal about your hatred of sampling.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't like it when musicians use samples.
Well, to be clear, if comedians sampled or fine painters sampled, then I would be as outspoken about any art form that does pre-existing art form and then folds it in.
Right, it wouldn't work for those kinds of mediums. So I want to get your thoughts on this, though. So that we have another copyright infringement case, and this is between Ed Sheeran and and Ed Townsend, who was Marvin Gaye's his like partner in songwriting, and he helped write "Let's Get It On." So Ed Sheeran is currently in court right now, trying to getting sued from Ed Townsend's estate because his song "Thinking Out Loud" sounds too much like "Let's Get It On," and these supposedly the very similar sheet music. So Ed Sheeran actually brought his guitar to the stand the other day and played both songs and showed them, like, this is what I do when I think of a song. Look, these are just 4 chords, and you can do anything with them. But here are the 2 songs side by side, just so you can kind of hear if they sound alike to you.
Loud. Darling, I will be loving you till we're 70.
Not really.
Not really.
But here's the whole thing, too. Let's Get It On musically is not much. It's about Marvin Gaye singing.
Yeah.
The song is just a basic sort of nothing burger. Dun, dun,
right. It's just a standard groove, but it really the star of the show is what Marvin Gaye's doing with it.
Yeah. And also Marvin Gaye was a sex symbol and very good looking guy. So if it was a fat, bald brother in his 50s, I don't even know if it would have ever... If it was really a song, like... In a weird way, it was like sort of a song that gets really popular for weddings or something like that, where it's like it's not a great song, but it sort of captures the zeitgeist and of the moment of what you're doing. It was like it would be used in movies and stuff like that. It would be used like in parodies, like in an animated film when the one dog was digging the other dog or something like that. And it was all about Marvin Gaye and his vocal ability and his looks and his vibe.
Right. It's more than just the song.
Music. I mean, I don't know. Let's listen. The song just sort of sounds like a band on a cruise ship.
Well, so
it's
you
just
get it,
doing a basic vibe for the singer.
For pop songs, like, I mean, you have 12 notes, 4 chords. It's a finite amount of...
There is a finite number of notes and beats per minute. You're bound to sound like other music.
Right. So, in fact, he when Ed was playing, he's like, look, I could also sing Crazy Love by Van Morrison over this. And he was trying to show the jury. And by the way, him performing for this jury could not have hurt. Him doing a little micro concert for them.
Somebody should have thrown panties at him. That would have been so funny.
And so, actually, I was watching a news story on this. You'll love this. This is ABC News senior investigative reporter Aaron Katursky's take.
I do also want to say this. If your song sounds kind of like another song in the 5 million songs that were written, so what? Just keep walking. Why does that mean you get paid?
Yeah, that's basically the idea of hit radio for the past 50 years. Yeah. You love songs because it reminds you of another song you know.
Right.
And by the way, just I should make this clear. Marvin Gaye's estate is not suing. It's just Ed Townsend.
All right.
This is, to them, I think, more than, Ed Sheeran taking or borrowing one song. It goes back to white performers misappropriating black music. And this has deep roots, and I think the family has, deeper concerns than just 4 chords.
I agree. They said it took the heart out of the music.
I love it. Listen, I love all the clowns and bullshitters we're living with now. But I love it. I can't remember if I was talking to you about it, but I love it when people talk about, racism and legacy and everything, and then they're like, write us a fucking check. And I loved it when Walter Payton's son put his dad's Porsche Turbo up at auction like 6 years ago. It's like, hey, it's my dad's pride and joy. Gave it to me before he died. I'm selling it. It's the way he would have wanted. Is that what he wanted? Or do you just want to get paid? Right. Just fucking say we want to get paid. Ed Sheeran makes a lot of money and we'd like to get paid.
You better give Sonny like a no sale
clause. Oh my God.
Sign that.
I know. And look, here's the deal. If My Sweet Lord and He's So Fine by the Shirelles, if they can win that case, which they did, then everything's on the table. Everything. And the people I cannot stand are the people who hear My Sweet Lord and He's So Fine and go, oh yeah, I can hear. Like, fuck you, you can't. you're lying, or you don't know shit. Yes, let's get it on really sonically. There's not much minus Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, it's just like a bed almost.
Right.
Yeah, and Marvin Gaye does his thing with it. So they asked Ed Sheeran, hey, if you lose this trial, what do you think? And he just goes, I'm done. Like he's really upset about this, like adamant.
Well, there's no such thing as being successful, rich, or whatever now without getting sued. It's impossible. You will have a life filled with litigation.
That's why I don't get rich or successful.
Yes. And what's Ed Sheeran doing with his hair? Is he hiding something, or that's his thing?
That's his thing. A little disheveled, a little rough around the edges, but then he sings and you're looking at an angel. You're listening to someone, yeah.
But he's not hiding a spot or something?
I don't know. I mean, I've never seen him with any other kind of hairstyle. It's like you.
I get it, but I'm not training it. Like what he's doing with his hair is what you do when you have a shitty neighbor and you try to train Ivy to go up a wall. Like he's trying to not see something. He doesn't want us to see his backyard.
Right.
So he's training that ivy, and that's why he put the lattice out. You understand?
That's what it is.
He's building a trellis to hide a bald spot.
Or not. I could see that.
I don't know. Because Trump blew everything up, with crazy back comb over something. Is there stories on the internet? Is that a thing?
Yeah. Any conspiracies about Ed Sheeran's hair?
Hiding stuff?
Yeah, I can't tell. I mean, but what a songwriter.
Yeah. He's anyway. I hope he wins. When are we going to find out?
I hope he wins. I have no idea. I mean, how long these things could take, but
they had to work racing.
But he had to work racing it. But he brought his guitar in too, which is really weird. He's like, let me play you guys. What?
Yeah.
How silly.
And I guess it was effective.
Yeah. Here's a video that I'm sure you've been tweeted about, but there's this Irish woman that went viral. Her story is her car had a flat tire and she was trying to get home. No passing taxi drivers would take her. And the bus was full. So she gets on her phone in a last-ditch effort and uses an app to just hire a taxi.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy comes. And when he pulls up, she's 20 years old, excuse me. She notices a crow sitting on top of his outside mirror, the driver's mirror.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, that's weird. But she gets in the car. And they start driving, and this is her quote. As we were driving, the driver was like, oh, my friend's back there. And I look out the window, and this crow is flying beside me. And here's the video of that. So this crow is just flying alongside this taxi.
Okay. We're getting closer every day.
And he gives her a treat, a digestive biscuit. He holds it out the window. And Crow just grabs it, and she's filming it. And the driver just laughs. He's like, yep, this is what we do.
This is just, he's following me again.
And he's still following, and now the driver's going to hold one out.
This is something me and my Uber driver could have discussed last night.
No financial podcast here.
Went right to Bloomberg.
So the driver's clarified that it's not his personal crow, but that the bird just follows him. So he feeds the animal digestive biscuits, and
we're getting closer to my personal attack crow world.
And now we know how fast they are.
Somebody sends me a vid of crow solving a puzzle every other day. Now we got this.
Why don't you just go and befriend him? Just have a sack of mixed nuts on you. And whenever you see crows, just drop them on the ground and make sure they eat them in front of you.
I am telling you, with all the crazy rando violence and attacks in the city, and with your personal, look, they do all these things. If you look in the back of Forbes magazine, you'll see all those advertisements. It's a hot chick and like two good-looking blonde 7-year-olds sitting on a giant lawn with a good-looking German Shepherd in between them. For $50,000, you can get a trained German Shepherd from Strudeldorf to come over here and protect your home. But when you hear about all the craziness in LA and Chicago and New York and all the craziness, doesn't take place in the living room. No. It takes place at the metro station and the parking lot of the 7-Eleven, all the random craziness. It's all outside. Right. So good luck with your German Shepherd when you're getting rolled on Melrose Boulevard, not in your living room.
Yeah.
That's where the attack crows come in.
Right, because that's where they hang.
Oh, it shall be. It shall be. It shall come to pass.
Close. Right now, they're learning to like us, and
I mean, the guy's driving 35 miles an hour, right?
Yeah.
Crow's just keeping up with the car.
Yeah.
The LA traffic. Again, you got to put the big rainbow tape crow sticker on the roof of the car so the crow knows who you are.
Right, because they can identify.
They could follow you from here to downtown. You're only going 5 miles an hour.
All right, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to make friends with a crow.
Befriend a crow, and then once you befriend that crow, anyone fucks with you. I'll tell you one thing about birds. Pound for pound, ballsiest animal on the planet.
Yeah, I remember.
They'll 8 ounces worth of sparrow will go at a mountain lion.
I remember
they don't care.
You walked the streets with your racing helmet on because I
had to put a helmet. I had a helmet up.
Yeah,
and then I kept it on all the way home. Because hey,
might as well. You're driving.
Safety's the thing.
First. Yeah.
All right, should we take a break and we'll bring John and Dominic in?
Yes.
All right, we'll do that right after this. Let me tell you about Angie. Angie's List is now Angie, and they've made it easier than ever to get all your home projects done right. I use Angie. Yep, what? You, Adam, you can do most everything Angie can do. True, but I'm busy, and I travel, and I have a schedule. So I'll let Angie do a lot of the stuff I don't have time to do or it doesn't make sense to do. 20 plus years of home service experience, and they're combined with new tools to simplify the entire process. So make it easy. On the Angie app, just answer a few questions. They'll handle the rest. See ratings and reviews, compare quotes from local pros, and connect instantly. Cross items off the to-do list in just a few taps. Whether it's routine maintenance or a dream remod, well, Angie makes it easy. Right, Dawson?
Get your next project done right with the help of a pro from Angie. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com. In celebration of Jim Carolla's upcoming 92nd birthday, here's a list of 92 things Jim Carolla has never done. Number 54. Driven a convertible. Just one of 92 things Jim Carolla has never done. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Jon Heder and Dominic Russo both in studio. Space Junk is their project, and that'll premiere May 19th on The Junk Is Out There .xyz, and we'll get into it's an animated series. Jon's doing a voice. Dominic, we know from doing the Bald Bryan doc, which is an ongoing process.
Yes, it started before we had kids. We both have 6-year-old kids now, so it's been that long.
You're known as one of the producers and creators of Workaholics, right?
Yep.
And Jon, you know, initially from Napoleon Dynamite, but I got to say, whenever Blades of Glory comes on,
yeah.
I don't know if underrated is quite the way to describe it, but I do not change the channel when Blades of Glory comes on.
I thought we were highly rated. That's how it went down.
Funnier, super funny movie.
I love it. Yeah. It's it's funny when people feel like they apologize whenever they say underrated. I'm like, what are you talking about? It was highly rated. I don't know what it was rated. All I know is that it made a lot of money, and it made me happy to make it and to watch it. So, yeah.
And what he's saying is it doesn't get played enough.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Well, let's be fair, I think, or let's see if we can figure this out. There are officially too many movies now to have a pantheon of top 5, top 10. Like when I was coming up, it'd be like, all right, you got Animal House, you got the Blues Brothers, you know, you got a couple, you know, Manhattan. Like you had there were like only 8 movies, but you know, Will Ferrell's done 25 movies that are funny as hell.
Yeah.
How do we make room for everything? You know, how we didn't have a Wedding Crashers and a Blades of Glory. We didn't have it. There's like, you know, a couple Woody Allen films and a couple of Richard Pryor films, and then that's all we had. There's not enough room anymore.
But now we have, like, I almost thought you were talking about now, even opposed to then, because that was almost 20 years ago. Blades, I could keep track of the movie still, like I was paying attention to box office results and how we doing? Did we make the first, the top 3 or the top 2 in this weekend? Where now you can't track it. It's so hard to track any of that, and it's even more so.
Were you big on tracking all that and like reviews, and would you read the reviews and stuff?
I did in the very, very beginning. I had a Google alert on my name,
sure,
and I quickly realized the problem with that.
Oh yeah, so that's worse because I remember sometimes Jimmy Kimmel, back in the day, he'd like hit me like, hey, what was going on with this or that? And I'd go, I don't know. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. And I'd go, how do you know? And he goes, I have a Google alert on your name. And I go, oh, I don't.
Covering you
and I don't have one for you either. So get rid of it. Yeah. You're being annoyed.
I don't trust
needlessly.
you.
Yeah. I mean, Napoleon Dynamite, that movie was insane in terms of capturing something for a little indie, quirky. I can't. It's like saying, it's like when somebody says, I want you to do this and I want it to go viral. It's like no one's in control of what goes viral. Just some things do. And that movie went viral, and it had to be in the most unlikely origins, or I would have never seen it coming.
I don't know if we always think about, discuss, like, could it happen today with social media, and like, would it just be another one that just kind of comes by, maybe it's popular for a second and then it just go. I think timing wise for that movie and for us, and not knowing, I think it was time to see that kind of a film.
I try to wonder, like, and then I sort of think about how much of it is in the name. Like, my suspicion is we only know about Minnie Driver because she has a cool name. That's my theory on her. But like the name, Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, that helps. It helps.
It's a great name, but I don't even know why it's great or how it works, and and maybe it's a combination of 3 things or 9 things or 29 things. But how does something make it into that zeitgeist and work?
It's just the right combo. Like you said, the name. I don't think about it a lot with the name, but you're right. It explodes, no pun intended, with, and it's maybe because it's matching 3 syllables on both names, and it just sounds pleasing to the ear, and it makes you already wonder what's going on. And then you see the poster, and like nobody knows who these people are. Let's find out more.
It's the most badass name ever.
Yeah, it's strong.
I mean, I think ever. I don't know. How do you beat it?
I heard like a casting director wanted Jake Gyllenhaal to play Napoleon Dynamite, but then they decided to go with John.
Really?
See, I remember hearing that story a while ago. I was like, that's impossible. I was connected to it from the get-go because we had done the short film 2 years prior, and Jared Hess, who created it, he was like, well, yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to make a feature based on this character. You're going to play the character. I think it was like, I think you're right. I think the casting director or maybe some producer that they talked to said, this could maybe be better if you could get, like recast it. I think that lasted all 1 second.
Yeah, it just has to be said out loud.
Yeah, and then I think he was promptly murdered right then and there.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Jake was Bubble Boy back then, right? Is that him?
Yeah, it was right around that time. They saw the success of that film and like, well, makes sense.
But, so it's kind of with Napoleon Dynamite in a way like what Sling Blade did, where they made a short at the beginning with Molly Ringwald in it, if people remember.
Was she in Sling Blade?
She was in the short. I'm pretty sure that Molly Ringwald and Billy Bob Thornton, she was in the short version of it, and he made like a 13-minute version of Sling Blade and then made
Jake
Sling
Gyllenhaal
Blade.
Replaced her.
Yeah. Is that so? But that was pretty much what Napoleon Dynamite did?
Yeah.
Were you guys in school? Like a student?
Yeah,
film?
it was that one. That one was a straight up student project. Like we got graded on that. And then
how much money we spending here? Like $600 or
probably like not even that much. Like it was shot on film, but it was 16 millimeter, so even more, even cheaper. But when Jared decided he knew he wanted to make a feature version, he was actually going to do about a different character. But then he saw how well the short did, and he was like, oh, this works perfectly. We've already got the character. we can build a whole movie around him and just sprinkle it with these other oddballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1994. A Short of Sling Blade was with Molly Ringwald.
Did not know
And
that.
then they casted down from her? Like, who did they?
And then they
when did they get her back?
They cast Billy Bob Thornton for her? No. No,
I don't-
wait, where did
I
was
don't
she the axe wielding?
You think you'd be grandmothered in
Yeah,
if
she
you
was a sling blader.
if you did the first one.
Yeah. And you don't get called back for the
Oh yeah, look at
feature.
that.
But maybe
Molly
JT
Ringwald.
Walsh. What was JT Walsh?
I don't
in
think he was in
Sling
that
Blade?
feature. No.
Yeah.
It was scheduling conflicts. She
Yes,
she
I'm
blew
sure
up
of
from
it.
the short, so she was too busy.
Yeah. Anyway, vague memory. So let's talk about Space Junk. How'd you guys get together?
I
on that
created
one?
this show, Space Junk. I read an article about space junk or space garbage as like a concept like 3-4 years ago, and just kind of was like, we've done what to Earth? You know, like there's millions of pieces of garbage floating around the planet, and as you know, the planet warms, and everyone's trying to escape to a better planet, which I don't know if we're gonna find one. We're sort of surrounding the planet with this trash, these like pieces of rocket. And so I'm reading these articles going like, man, this is like an insane concept. And then, 1 minute later, it's like, oh, garbage men in space. Like I grew up with like blue collar, parents, people who work for a living. And I'm like, I start kind of going like garbage men in space. That's my next project. So I just go down the wormhole of Space Junk and start thinking about it. And these things take forever. So 3 years later, we're launching the pilot with Jon Heder, and I couldn't be more thrilled. So
How much junk's out there?
I mean, they say millions of small pieces, right? Everything's going at like 17,000 miles an hour. It's the size of a bullet on the small scale. On the big scale, like size of a bus, kind of like big piece of a rocket or a chunk. Over NORAD tracks like 500,000 pieces, they say, actively, and then the rest are kind of too small to track.
Oh my gosh,
So-
that's the scarier ones.
So-
I
so
don't want to go
much-
up in space now.
Me neither.
So much it's become a problem, right? So like it's a few times recently the ISS has had to dodge garbage because their
What's
strategy,
the ISS?
the International Space Station.
Oh, I was
So-
picturing something rocketing up or something.
It's
but yeah.
this kind of
Yeah.
looking thing, and their only strategy is like thrust up or thrust down to get out of the way. They can't really do anything about it because if it hits, this stuff's like thin aluminum metals, and it just rips right through it.
Oh, yeah.
And so the astronauts have to go down into these like escape pods and wait.
Oh my gosh.
So if it doesn't hit, if it does hit, they're like, psh, we're gone.
Wow.
And that's the only current strategy. So it's just become this, since Sputnik in 1957, like, every year we launch 100 or so rockets and it leaves a little bit of junk behind. And this stuff doesn't go anywhere. It just keeps floating around.
Yeah.
And so,
it doesn't degrade.
plus 60-something years later, there's a couple million pieces. And then like 10 years ago, the Chinese decided to, just to show that they had like space superiority, they blew up a rocket from ground. They like shot a missile into space to blow up one of their rockets to be like, we can blow up rockets in
Pop their
space.
chest out, yeah.
And it just created a bunch more garbage, right? So there's this cloud of like that garbage going around.
Oh my
And that
gosh.
took out some other satellite that then created more garbage. So it's this like kind of never-ending cycle of trash. And so, these engineers are now going like, well, we got to figure out a way to clean some of this up or do something about it because every Bezos now and Musk, people are going to space. And so we got to clean up the trash that's there. So that's kind of
This would have been a great Bruce Willis movie if he was.
Yeah.
if he didn't have
a situation.
We'll just call it the situation.
Yeah, it makes me nervous that the two richest guys in the world are looking for ways to get off the planet. And I swear to God, it makes me think they know something that we don't know, that there's no way, something with South Korean nukes, something like there's something to the two richest guys on the planet historically wanted to get on huge yachts and just tool around with hot chicks. That's
Sure.
all they're doing.
Yeah, why not?
They're trying to get off the planet, and that worries me as someone who can't afford to get off the planet.
And there's nowhere really to go. Like that's the other
Well,
part.
they're trying to figure it out.
And they're trying to figure it out, but like it's not an apparent there's no, Earth 2.
There's no Pandora right now.
Not really. In a big part of the show, just early on, like I thought that was funny. I'm like, everyone thinks space is so sexy, and you see these like hot actors like John, like in these spandex suits, all having like passionate sex all over the aircraft. But the reality is going to be a bunch of like dudes who wrench on things, and probably 99% dudes just like farting in these little tanks together. It's going to be small. The food's going to suck. There's going to be no fast food, no French fries. And I'm like, what a great like place for people to get on each other's nerves and like, bust balls. And so that's kind of where the show came from.
Yeah. They're also talking about using planets to dump off like hazardous material and mining on other planets and all that kind of stuff. It strikes me that we used to think of the ocean as sort of a giant sewer.
It was the original space.
It was the original space. Like, look, if you got some toxic shit, just dump it over there because it'll absorb anything. But now it's hit its absorption level, and we have an island the size of Texas made out of plastic bottles. Also, I don't want to get preachy. How do we get kids?
Go there. Here we go. Go there.
I just got back from Stagecoach with like 8 kids. They're like teenagers. They use 17 water bottles a day apiece every day for the rest of their lives. Is there such a thing as drinking from the sink? Is there such a thing? And people just start bringing cases. It's just cases all the time. And I'm like, don't do it. They need water. Like, I bought a bottled water that's in glass bottled water, and I see my daughter. She's drinking out of the plastic bottle. I go, what are you doing? And then I come downstairs, and there's cases of it. Like, we have to give her water. I go, do we have a glass? She goes, I can tell the difference. I like the thing.
Hey, at least you can say your teenagers are buying bottled water on their own. It's probably better than buying other cases. It's coming from you.
Yeah.
But they're going out and they're like, so you're providing it, or they're going out and using your cards?
I don't know. I don't even know what's going on. All I know is I can never stop working.
There's a silver lining there. They're buying water, hydrating.
I'm saying, what are we going to do with this planet? Everyone is so married to bottles of water, and they won't put it down, and everything's got its own like container and piece of junk from China. And like, there's just way too much stuff. It's too cheap. It's too available. I don't even know what to do with it anymore.
I looked into flinging it into the sun. Like, can you fling this? Because it's the sun, right? Like, that can handle it. And the first thing was like, you probably don't want to do that because it could solar flare and like kill us all. You're like, all right, we will. Solar flare.
I always thought about that too, like putting stuff out in
volcanoes.
space.
Why not a volcano? It seems
just
like
burning,
dump it
burn
in.
it all.
But then,
but I guess the gas.
But I think that volcano's like when your dog eats a sock and then shoots it back up at you and plops it next to you. Like, I think that's what the volcano would do.
Back right out.
And volcanoes, they're temperamental. They like to get punishment on us for throwing stuff in there like people.
Well, then you get the idea of you do think that's the obvious solution. Just not at the sun, but directed away from the sun. Just shoot it into space. And then you don't take any of the other considerations. Like, we have all this trash that's not leaving our orbit. It's so hard to get it out of orbit. And even then, it'll probably go circle around some other planets.
Venus's problem. You guys.
It's Venus's. Well, that's true. I mean, why not? They don't have anything living there.
I don't know how they're going to collect the garbage in space.
I'm curious to hear your opinion.
Because it's going 17,000 miles an hour, so you can't use a hefty bag.
And you're an engineer.
It'll blow a hole in it.
Yeah.
Well, my engineering background or my building background suggests that you must catch up to the projectile, like
not absorb it, like with some sweet, like bulletproof, gigantic shield, like
a football pad. No, you need like a something.
No,
you
I
have the
think
same momentum.
You're going to have to get going. Like we just saw a crow eating from a cab in Ireland. The crow had to catch up to the cab to get the biscuit, right?
Yes.
Like so, we're going to have to catch up to it.
You get going fast enough where you see it on all sides of you, and you just picking it up,
just
grabbing your little litter stick and sticking it in a bag.
Yes. I'm guessing you need a.
If we have that technology, we will still be using litter sticks, though.
Yes.
And then you can slow it down, and it can sort of re-enter the atmosphere, and it'll burn up. So that's one way. Slow it down.
Right.
it might also not burn up and it might land on your house or something, like, because that happens too.
Well, a lot of the stuff is made of like titanium
Yes.
and stuff that is engineered to withstand incredible heat because it's part of a rocket.
Right.
So it stands to reason a lot of it might not burn up as it's heading back in.
And it falls down once in a while. It always, it's always in the middle of the outback, luckily, I feel like. But like,
Yeah.
or always in Russia, like some neighborhood. It's always like, man, that neighborhood's over something where they just like, man, some dude's house gets like, it's a ball of flames.
There was I can't remember. We've looked into this before. There was Skylab. And Skylab in like 1979 was due to come out.
Yes.
And due to come down. And it captured the imagination of America. And it was there were like three phenomenons. There was Bobby Riggs was going to play Billie Jean King in tennis. And all of America shut down for 3 weeks up until that event. And that's all there was. It was a battle of the sexes, and Billy Riggs was going to play. Billie Jean King was going to play Bobby Riggs in a tennis match, and all of America was smitten by this. Bigger than Napoleon Dynamite. What? And
one moment,
Skylab was going to come down at 1979. And nobody knew where it was going to come down in all of America. It was like when baby Jessica fell in a well. Everyone just stopped what they were doing and went, I'm now interested in this. And then, of course, people walk around with hard hats on, as a joke about Skylab coming down, disintegrating the atmosphere in 1979. But we knew Skylab was coming down for like 2 months. And nobody knew where it was. People were painting bullseyes on the roof and stuff. Like we went
simpler
nuts. It was our chupacabra.
Yeah.
Was it a satellite or a space station? Skylab sounds like a. I mean, is this Skylab we're looking at a visual right now? And
looks big.
It looks like a satellite mixed with
a space station, and it ended up landing in the Indian Ocean,
of course,
in Western Australia, and we're all like,
always, yeah.
Because we as Americans are so narcissistic. Just like now, we're like, okay, it's going to land in New York or L.A. It's like there are other places that are bigger than this. Yeah, I know, but we're L.A., baby.
Yeah.
Come on now. It's just like it's the same with like Santa Monica thinks they're going to solve global warming.
Right. Yeah.
Just somewhere between 18th Street and Ocean.
Yeah.
They're going to figure it out. That's their form of narcissism. But yeah, Skylab came down in 79. We had Roots, the miniseries. We had Bobby Riggs playing tennis. We had Skylab. And we
disco
had
everywhere.
Somebody fell in a well. And that's pretty much my childhood. That's all I had.
So you've been connected to Space Junk since the beginning. In some weird way.
I lived through Skylab. And I was kind of hoping it would hit our house because we lived in such a junker.
And you were like hoping, okay, there's got to be some form of insurance that will cover us.
Or, the nation will grieve for my home being destroyed by Skylab, and the donations will start pouring in, and there'll be a movement, and Jimmy Carter will build me a new house,
himself.
Yes,
it's a bad sign when that's the best thing that's ever happened to you, when a piece of space junk hits your house.
But yeah, it would have been.
It would have been a step up. Yeah. I finally arrived.
Yeah, so that never really materialized. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I hear a lot about it near misses now with a lot of asteroids.
I mean, there is
and
a
stuff
lot
like
more coverage you hear about, like, I swear every other month it's like another device that Elon Musk built is now burning up in the atmosphere, and people can stand outside at this time of day and see the pretty light show. Knowing
one of his rockets just blew up.
His most recent one,
like 2 weeks ago or something. And those fall in the ocean typically, but not this. But he launched like 20,000 small satellites last year. So and those the little Skynet ones or whatever.
Shifting gears, John, you did your mission in Japan. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that seems like a pretty cush mission assignment, you know, because I always think about, like, there are guys who sign up for the military and they get stationed in Hawaii, and then there are other guys who have to go to Afghanistan and stuff. And it's like, I would much rather spend my time in Hawaii than Afghanistan, like as an enlisted person.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's on the list for missions, but I feel like Japan is a pretty sweet deal.
It was a sweet deal. I think the only reason I didn't look down on it, I was actually gunning for, I wanted the real experience. I wanted to join, as a lot of my father called it, the Brown Spot Club, where you go to like a third world country and you have an accident on a bus where you can't make it to a bathroom in time. They called that the Brown Spot Club. And it was almost inevitable. My older brother went to El Salvador, which was even worse than Chile, where my dad went, and, you know, had plenty of stories of having bowel movements in unexpected places. So,
well, I mean, you have a deadly combo of a diet you're not ready for, pretty rough roads, not a lot of good suspension in some of those buses.
So
that's
but I did study Japanese in high school, so I was like, okay, that's the connection there. I'm glad, but it was the first time living in an apartment with, I'd never seen a cockroach before, and they had cockroaches aplenty and rats. Oh yeah, because you don't always have the top-notch living quarters, and I didn't have it rough. But you're going everywhere on a bicycle, and we had our fair share of adventures. And I do remember thinking, man, everything here is glowing and it talks to you. The toilets, the traffic signs, everything is futuristic except for their medical system, which was you didn't want to go to a hospital. You did all you could to avoid being admitted, because I knew of a couple of these other missionaries who got hit by a car, and they would just tell horror stories about these Japanese doctors or ER guys who didn't know exactly. I mean, I'm sure it's better now, but then they were like, oh, they didn't know about anesthesiology as well. So as much. So they're like screaming in pain while they're ripping, the pants off these broken, mangled, legs from a car accident. Or, moments like that, or it smelled weird in there and in the hospitals, and it just wasn't the same. Luckily, I didn't really have to frequent the hospitals, but there was a little bit of that element, but no, it was cushy.
You were there for a year?
2 years.
Is that the average length of a mission?
Yeah.
And is it a full-time gig? You head out every Monday morning?
Yep. You go and you have your schedule, and you get up at 6:30 in the morning, get to bed by 10:30, and then and you're out there. You're just out all day long. And
is it to spread the good news?
Spread the good news.
Are you going door to door?
Sometimes in Japan, a lot more than you would probably like the States, because you're not getting as much reception. I mean, in Japan, where it's, primarily, I guess the biggest being Buddhism and Shintoism. And so you're not getting as much reception. So yeah, a lot of your time is spent doing the typical going door to door, going on the streets and stopping people. It's extremely ineffective, but it's fun. And you learn Japanese very quickly that way.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Like the phrase, get off my lawn in Japanese.
Muy desu yo, muy desu.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Do you still speak it?
I mean, it's more slow to remembrance, but yeah, it's still there.
Well, give us some phrases like what they would yell at you, good or bad, if they want you to leave. Or
dame desu yo, muy desu, Buddhist desu yo, jinge kusai. That was a bad one, I said. But, what else? Like isagashi desu. I'm busy. No time for this.
Mm-hmm. Use that one a lot, huh?
Sumimasen, senjutsu shimasu, ojama. I'm sorry to be rude, but I'm going to be rude.
Oh, really?
I like that one.
Yeah.
That's nice.
You get the. I really thought you've heard about the salarymen or the sarariman.
Yes.
No, I haven't.
The salarymen were like the Japanese businessmen in their suits and ties coming, like clockwork, coming off the trains, walking home to their houses. They're all kind of mostly 50% plastered and very ruby and red.
Yes.
from having to drink with their bosses and their coworkers.
Oh, because they have the enzyme and they can't. They flush out when they drink.
Yeah, so it was very a lot of good interactions with them, which we knew was.
I got dick tapped by one in Tokyo.
Oh, now you got to explain
Yes.
dick tap.
Oh, like when someone whaps your wiener,
I was-
when
Yeah,
they're
that's pretty
drunk.
much what it sounds like,
Yeah,
all the guys are.
it's just like
I wanted
it's
to hear it out
it's a
loud.
new app. Yeah, dick tap. Yeah, everyone's hooking up.
Is that a light version of frotcherism?
I don't know what that is, but
That's
it sounds fun.
Public touching of, I think, oneself or others. I know it's basically invented in Japanese
This
trains.
felt like a bar, a bar goof. But
Yeah.
yeah, one of the salary men in like a khaki suit who was just like blacked out, hammered. Thought it'd be funny to dick tap.
Yeah, they'll dick tap you.
The American
Really?
guy. Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck? You got hit in the wang, And I was kind of pissed, but he was so drunk. I was like, I'm just going to sort of remove my... I don't know if it's culturally appropriate to dick tap him back. I don't know where the rules.
It was
here.
an invitation, I feel like.
Yeah, you didn't go all Terry Crews and drop a dime on him.
No. Actually, I waited till this show to do it. Let's take him down. But on the walk home, I remember there was guys like passed out in suits, like on bus stops, that were those guys. They weren't homeless guys. They were salarymen. And
They're
so
calling them salarymen. I've never heard of this.
And I think if they don't have families and they're single, they'll sort of like just sleep on the street till 8 a.m. and then go back to the office.
That I don't know.
Because I saw guys sleeping, like with the briefcase. Like,
oh my gosh.
That's the thing.
That's why they started making those hotels with the little drawers that were the beds where you can like get inside of basically a giant
just fit your
drawer,
body. Yeah.
and then they push you back in, and it's like
I slept in one of those. Yeah, the little honeycomb hotels. Real cute, real cute,
very very cozy.
It was convenient. Yeah, I don't know.
2 years. Were you eating all Japanese food and everything, or were you freaked out by like raw fish and whole
that
diet
was
and stuff?
oh no I luckily I had a liking of sushi. My dad, would make it actually often.
Really?
Yeah, but it was certainly where I opened up my taste buds and tried.
Dad would do home sushi.
Yeah, he was stationed he was in the military when he was a doctor, and so he was stationed in Japan for a couple years before I was born. So I think there was like a fun connection, like. There was, all this Japanese like decor and furniture in our house growing up. And
oh, really?
I think that's why I took it in high school. I was like, oh, there's like a Japanese connection here. And then I got to go there. And so kind of like rounded it out. And it was great. I loved it.
And you're from the Northwest. You got like the salmon, the fresh salmon.
Tons of
right,
fish.
Yeah, I'm sure that explained my love of fish. I was able to handle that. Yeah.
Jesus, I couldn't imagine how horrible a Japanese student I would have been in high school. Like Spanish was a bridge too far for me linguistically. I don't think I could have come close to Japanese.
Everything you learn in 3 years, it all is thrown out the door in your first week there. You're like, oh, I think it prepped me. I was able to learn how to write and read 2 of their alphabets, and that was the good I got out of it, which gave me a little bit of a head start on reading, like where this train is going. Okay, I at least know it's headed to Ikebukuro.
You know enough to get by.
Yeah.
Say that like Napoleon Dynamite.
Ikebukuro, Baka-san. Shit. Baka desu yo.
The new series is called Space Junk, and you can find it May 19th at thespacejunkisoutthere.xyz.
The junk is out there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
The junk is out there.xyz. And John, Dominic, you guys come back anytime and tell us some more interesting story. I feel like this was almost science-based.
I'm sorry.
I learned a lot.
I did learn a lot. You can go to adamcarolla.com for all my live shows, going to Vegas, going to Oklahoma City, going to New York, going to Solana Beach and Nashville, Huntsville. Just go to adamcarolla.com for all the live events. And until next time, Adam Carolla for Jon Heder and Dominic Russo and Chris Maxipata saying mahalo.
Pick yourself up a copy of any of Adam's fabulous books.